Welcome and thank you for tuning in. In today's episode I'll be showing you how I built this 1:48 scale US fuel truck from Tamiya. This little vehicle is part of my B70 diorama series and is destined to take its place right next to the mighty bomber itself, so buckle up and enjoy the ride. But before we start the build, a quick word from today's sponsor, Galeri. Galeri offers quality airbrushes at affordable prices, and right now they're running a special sale, so if you're looking for a new airbrush, be sure to check out their shop. You'll find the link in the description below. The build begins as usually with carefully removing the parts from their plastic sprues. Once separated, any excess plastic is gently trimmed away using a hobby knife, followed by a light sanding to smooth out the surfaces. This kit is perfect for painting the individual parts before final assembly, so the next step is to apply the primer. The primer ensures that the paint will adhere more effectively later on, providing a smooth and even foundation for the upcoming layers. Next I prepare the black basing. Using an airbrush stencil I apply a textured layer of white paint over the primed surface. This step may look a bit exaggerated now, but it's all intentional. Once the main color is applied, this underlayer will subtly shine through, giving the finish a more dynamic and weathered appearance. And now it's time for the main color, a beautiful shade of Olive Drab. The paint has been thinned down by 50%, allowing it to be applied in light translucent layers. This technique ensures that the subtle pre-shading underneath remains visible, adding depth and variation to the final result. Unfortunately, there is no pre-made mask for the wheels, so I cut my own. To avoid the factory fresh look, I begin adding shipping effects using a small sponge. This technique creates random, natural looking wear, especially around edges and high traffic areas, giving the truck a more lived-in, battle-worn appearance. Before applying the decals, I give all the parts a coat of glossy varnish, which has to dry for 24 hours. This protective layer prevents the decal solution from damaging the underlaying paint. It also creates a smoother surface, allowing the decals to slide more easily into position for precise placement. First I apply microset to the decal area. This helps the decal conform better to the surface. And then the decal is placed, ideally not with a finger. Unfortunately I didn't get it straight the first time, so I applied another layer of microset. This softened the decal further, make it easier to repositioning, especially with the longer ones like this. Then work over the decal with a flat brush to push out any trapped air bubbles. Once it's in position, I press it down gently with a hard brush to set it in place securely. After letting everything dry for about 10 minutes, I apply a layer of microsol, and this helps the decal conform to the surface and blend in for that painted on look, at least in the best case scenario. Depending on the thickness of the decal and the surface details, this step might need to be repeated a few times. Once all decals are in place, I seal them with another coat of glossy varnish. This protects the decals and prepares the surface for the foldering step. Now I take a 6000 grit wet sandpaper and gently work along the edges of the decals. This helps to carefully wear down the carrier film, blending it into the surface, giving the detail a truly painted on appearance. This step is then sealed once more with a coat of glossy varnish, locking everything in and ensure a smooth, uniform finish for the weathering to come. After about 40 minutes, the wash is gently removed using a sponge or cotton swab, leaving just a subtle residue in the regress areas. This enchants the details without overpowering the overall look of the model. The tires are coated with a mix of pigments, airbrush thinner and pigment fixer. This blend settles nicely into the thread and textures. After a few hours of drying time, any excess pigment is gently removed with a water dampened cotton swab, leaving behind a realistic and dusty finish. The seat unfortunately comes without any texture, making it look a bit plain. To fix that, I first remove a thin layer of plastic and then apply epoxy putty to sculpt a more interesting leather-like texture by hand. Now a large portion of the model can be assembled. Since most parts are already painted, I mainly use acrylic glue and super glue to avoid damaging the finished surface and to ensure a clean and secure bond. Last but not least, I add a touch of mud and dirt to the underside of the truck, giving it the final layer of realism, just enough to suggest it's been out there on the airfield doing its job. Now it's time to apply a flat varnish. It may appear slightly glossy while spraying, but once it dries, it settles into the perfect dull tone, giving the model a matte finish. For the lights, the inner housing is first painted with a silver tone to simulate the reflected surface, then the clear plastic part is carefully glued into place, giving the lights a convenient glass-like appearance. Since there are no clear plastic parts for the side mirrors, I apply a small drop of UV activated epoxy glue. Once cured, it creates a convenient glass effect that catches the light just right. Before we take a look at the final result, I'd like to invite you to join my new Discord server. It's a place for passionate model builders like you and me to chat about our favorite hobby and share our latest projects. Everyone is welcome. I'd be thrilled to see you there. You'll find the invite link in the description below. That's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this build. In the next video, I'll return to the B70 bomber and show you how I built the wings and the engines. If you like my content, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Easter, and as always, happy modeling.